Well, hey, nurses, we are at it again. This stock options has really brought a lot of conversation. It's put a little comma in my bank account. I got my coach out here, Coach Eddie. Some of you have heard me talk a little bit about Coach Eddie. It's been absolutely amazing. And so tonight, we're going to be talking about the next level of wealth, how stock options can fund your holiday freedom. And we have here my coach. Coach Eddie Fontaine. Coach Eddie Fontaine is a longtime educator turned stock trading instructor with a passion for financial empowerment. With over 15 years in education, he honed his skills in teaching mentorship and curriculum design, now applied to breaking down complex financial concepts into clear, actionable lessons. After years of insurance claim adjuster, sharpening his analytical skills, Eddie transitioned into trading, where he studied market trends, risk management, and long-term wealth strategies. Today, he combines the heart of an educator with the discipline of an investor, helping individuals confidently navigate the markets and build sustainable wealth through stock options. Here's what others are saying. Eddie makes stock trading simple and approachable. I finally feel confident in the markets. His teaching style is clear, patient, and empowering. I've learned more in weeks than I did in years on my own. Eddie genuinely cares about his students' success. He's not just teaching trades, he's teaching financial independence. So, Eddie, welcome back. The last time you joined us and helped us, many of our listeners understood the basics of stock options, and many of them wanted to get more into the conversation and dive a little bit deeper. So, why do you believe stock options are still one of the most overlooked opportunities, especially among nurses and healthcare professionals?
The longevity of it is basically giving you more for what you're investing, right? Because everybody wants the return on investment, and some people want it fast, and that's what options does. It gives you a better vision of getting a return on your investment more than just buying the actual stock itself, right? The stock
Mhm.
itself was pretty much the game where you gotta put your money in there and let it wait and sit, and then the slow return is just kind of like you got to wait years, whereas options give it to you in weeks time. And so with that return, it makes you want to come back and dive in and continue to invest in yourself.
Yes. So, what I'm going to do now is we're going to go in a little bit deeper into our stock options. And so, what's happening here lately? Look, I got to mess up my little scene here, y'all. Give me a moment. Let There we go. That's much better.
There you go.
All right. So a lot of the when we talk about stock options, we coming up on the holidays, right? And I remember going to Kmart when I was a little kid, and we used to lay away things. When I start thinking about people having their money in a savings account and trying to figure out what do I do with options. Well, as we know, the market just turned red just recently, and that freaked some people out. So recently was my first experience of experiencing, whoa, it went red. One of the things that you taught your students, me included, is about patience. And so let's talk a little bit about the market being red. What are you dealing with when you're doing stock options? And how do you be patient through this process? Because people are looking at the holidays like, do I spend? Do I chill? I can buy this option, I can flip my money, but what should I do when the market is red?
Well, most of all, what I teach is being patient, right? And being patient is managing what you have, right? Most people in my earlier days, when I didn't really know any better, I was just start selling when I saw red, right? Because automatically people think that they automatically lost, right? You think you lost because you seen red, but there's adjustments that can be made. There's different options. That's why it's called options. There's different ways you can strategize the plays that you have. And by having those options, it allows you the opportunity to kind of either buy in the market or either advance your plays where you're already at and just manage what you have.
That's what I like about you. You always just stay calm. You don't freak out when things are happening. You like just stay patient, manage your play, buy yourself some more time if you have to buy time. And the key rule of option is do not bid, don't go buying stuff that you don't have no business buying. If you can't afford to buy that, don't do that. Can't afford to be in the game, don't be in that game like that. So
Right.
that's been a lesson for me because whenever I call you and say, okay, coach, what do I need to do? And you always take it back to me. Like you give me the responsibility to think about what it is. Okay.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
let's talk a little bit about mindset. So a lot of this thing in options trading, because you teach us the basics, you teach us how to go after it, how to make some dollars. But a lot of this is really mindset to begin with. So what are some of the first struggles that you find when you get new students in the class as it relates
Well,
to mindset?
what I try to explain to people is not a get rich quick scheme, because everybody come in and they may see some people making like big tickets, right? Making big plays. And sometimes people want that, right? They want the hurry up money, right? But you got to crawl before you walk, right? So you got to patiently, you got to do this based on what your account has in it, right? So I like to slowly put people into place of strategizing themselves to have a portfolio, right? That's the first important thing, right? You want to get the portfolio moving, right? And once you get the portfolio moving, it's just like teaching you, right? We got your portfolio moving, and then you come and you say, "Hey, Eddie, I want to taste of those quick returns." And so, with your consent, okay, well, this the play, we're gonna play together, right? Because I want to be in the play with you too. Because if I lose, I want to be held accountable just as well as you. So we go in those tickets, those plays together. I give you the play, we win. Hey, let's manage your play from here, right? We up, we go about our business, right? So I want to slowly groove you into this. And the patient piece is getting your portfolio going so that way you're comfortable and you see where you're at, right? It's just, just like coaching you, I'll say like, hey man, are you satisfied with what you have? You're like, yeah, I'm very satisfied, right? I like what my portfolio says. I like what it has. I'm in this for the long haul, right? I'm gonna just keep adding money to my account because I want this thing. I can see where it's going. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Right. Yep, that's it. So mindset. So I know that sometimes when people get in options and they may have made like maybe their first $200, they went in on a small play and they made 200. And sometimes people walk away with the attitude like, man, it's just 200. Like, how many people make 200 an hour? How many people make 200 without actually going out and doing anything? Your money
Right.
just made money. We'll be talking about here, right? You put $200 in the savings account. You ain't gonna wake up in the morning. It's gonna be 200. It's gonna
Absolutely.
be the same 200, maybe at the end of the month, 203 with, and I don't mean $3, I mean 3 cents, right? And so I think that mindset has to readjust and you have to be patient about what this is. But in our world today, we really have to get in position as AI is coming on in. A lot of jobs are going to begin to change. We got to begin to own our money and play our positions accordingly and setting
Absolutely.
ourselves up in such a way. And so in your stock options class, I like that you really focus on making us understand how to choose the best options. So, off the wall question: how did you get the name Option Whiz?
Somebody gave it to me. I was in this chat and this was the chat I was in before I started my own
Mm.
service. I would come out around the holidays and I would just give people plays and I would say, man, look, this is a Merry Christmas from y'all, from me to y'all. And I said, I just want to see y'all Christmas trees, right? And it was like, man, we're gonna give you a name, you Option Wiz, and that's how I came over. They gave me that name. That was given to me. They used to call me the wizard. I said, okay, Option Wiz it is. So, man, you the whiz, man. You got this stuff on lock. So that's how I got the name.
I love it. Sometimes you throw out plays and I'll be like, whoa, wait a minute. How did you come up with this? Right? And you're like,
Right.
you gotta look at the chart, look at the trend. So what I like about it is the intelligence with the option trading. And so
Mhm.
me being a person that really enjoys history, I went back in time and I wanted to find out how and when did all of this happen? And I found one of the first trades was back in Greek time about the olive press. And basically, he took out the option that the olive press will be worth so much dollars, right,
Mhm.
down the
Mhm.
line, a call, right? And
Mhm.
so he put some money out there, and sure enough, that thing paid out. And it was like the option to own, the option to have that choice. Uh,
Absolutely.
and I was like, okay, now that I can understand a little bit more of a history on that, I
Mhm.
really like this thing. And I can see this as being my long term play to help to develop my portfolio. And so I want to go in. One of your students that I love, everybody like talking about Keisha. I won't say
Mhm.
her last name, but she's had some amazing plays. She's had some amazing wins with you. Can you tell us a little bit of her testimony about how she progressed under your in your program?
Absolutely. Well, she came in was a group of girls that came in. They were all friends, and Keisha was already trading already. She was already trading, but she wasn't confident in trading, right? And so part of this again is giving you confidence to press the button, right? Because nobody wants to lose at all. Like everybody come in and they're afraid to lose, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so one of my favorite slogans, I never press the button. No, I never come in expecting to lose. That's why you got to be sure and precise about what you're playing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she wasn't very confident, and so I walked her through it, right? We sat down and we had a conversation. We had different. She said, "Coach, tell me what you think about these plays." She said, I'm so hesitant. And then after a while of coaching her, she was like, I just went with my move. I just started buying stuff. And you said, don't be hesitant. If you think you're gonna lose, then don't buy it. The
Yeah.
stuff you confident in, buy it. And then she just started buying. And she said, Coach, I'm up. She just texted me, Coach, I'm up such and such percent. I'm up. And she just started sending me her portfolio. And I was like, man, this is a proud moment for me because, a lot of times the people are very hesitant and they miss entries. They miss the position rolling out. Hey, you can shoot 100 shots. You don't know how many you're gonna make unless you shoot them, right? Your first trade could be a loss, right? But that's fine, right? Because you're not gonna win everything. So her confidence came just by actually going live and doing it herself and me coaching her. So I was proud to actually have that piece of my portfolio to help out with that. Just kind of let her know that, hey man, it's okay. If you lose, you're gonna lose one or two. You're gonna lose one or two. It's okay. But look at the rest of the plays that you have, right? Let's balance that and look at the rest of the winners you have. And you can always go back, just like talking to you today. I'm gonna make my money back from this play, blah, blah, blah. And I'm gonna make the correction and make my money back from another play on the backside.
Yep. Yep. It's
Lesson
playing the
learned.
money game.
It's playing the game. And that's why it's called options, though. Back to the history part, it's options because it gives you multiple ways to be able to get your money, play the plays, and you can angle this from any way you want. It's an option. That's why it's called option. It's an option.
I like it. I used to wonder how people were getting so paid so quickly when things was happening in the market because I would go out and buy me a few stocks, right? Buy a couple of Apple stocks,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll go up. And I'm like, but I didn't make 40,000. How are people making 40,000? Like, what am I missing? What am I doing wrong? I can't yet go out and buy 40,000 shares of Apple. So how people are doing this? And so
Right.
I have been curious, like how this happened. And then that one day you called me and was like, have you, considered trading options? Like, you know what? I wanted to learn about this. I've been curious about this. What is this? And now that I watch the market, now that I'm hearing the language, it's all adding up. And so a lot of people who are just buying the traditional EFTs and the traditional stocks, you're not going to see that quick turnaround. Now, not that that's not a bad thing. You want to buy your long-term stocks and EFTs. You want to get all of that stuff. But did I say that right? EFTs or ETFs?
ETFs.
I had a feeling I said that wrong. ETF. See, that's why you the
Mm-hmm.
coach. That's why you the coach. But these options, being able to buy these options, getting my contracts, and having those kinds of flips is intoxicating. And that's where you have to control it. That's where you have to use education. That's where you have to take the emotions out of it and take your time and leverage when you're going to make the decision. And so this is what I have enjoyed about being in the class and being around so many people that have the sense of synergy and responsibility behind the money.
Absolutely. Now the ETFs will pay you now. It's
Mhm.
just that if it goes down 2 times the value or 3 times the value what the stock is, right? And so that's what makes that so rigorous, right? That's why I typically stick to the stock itself, and I know the stocks and how many points that the stock can run, right? So knowing that and knowing when you at, the old saying is that don't fix it if it ain't broke. Well, if
Mhm.
you know something already and you're so good at it, just teach what you know. And so that way you don't have a broken system. Because a lot of times with people, I used to have students come in and they would do buy the stocks, but then they want to buy the option, but they all want to do cover calls and cover puts. You haven't mastered this piece yet. So until you can master what you have, why go on to something else? Go on to something else. You haven't mastered making the bread. So why would you want to add more sugar, or why you want to make king cakes now? You understand? You got to master the bread first. You get my point? You ain't mastered the bread yet. Why you won't go over the king cakes? We ain't get the bread down pat.
Try to lay out all those levels. Yes, yes. So, all right, come on, give us some tips. We got a lot of moms out here, a lot of nurses, a lot of people out here. They're gonna be out here taking all kind of contracts, traveling contracts, trying to get their bread up, trying to get their money up. What are some of the things that you would advise for people who want to come in and learn a little bit about options and allowing your money to make money for you versus you go and trade hours for dollars?
Come in with patience, right? This sometimes it could kind of start off slow based on the person's account, right? Because it could, me personally, just from my own experience, I was once one of those people on the other side, right? And I used to ask the guy, man, it's real money, right? And then I had to start, I tell people start with the person in the mirror, right? You start with that person. And I say, it ain't y'all, it's me, right? So when I started applying it and started looking at what was happening, I realized that small wins bring you big returns, right? You can start off small and then you start gradually growing into something, right? Holidays are coming, right? This is a perfect opportunity for, and I'm glad you was able to see the market do what it do, because now you can see that it can be green one day and red one day, but that's where the patience kicking at, right? Just like talking about Viking, right? Viking wasn't that much, but then you're like, man, I'm down. I was up 1,000, now I'm down 300. But see, the exact next day, over the weekend, it slept. Everything kind of normalized and it came back to you, right? So patience is one. Two, allow yourself to be around somebody, around like-minded people who are doing what you do, right? Because if you get 9 zeros, you're going to be the 10-0, right? Always remember that. You're around 9 zeros, you're going to be number 10, right? Be prepared to take the roller coaster ride, right? There's nothing wrong with taking a ride, right? And if you're a working person, I'm not telling you quit your job. I'm saying work your job and build your portfolio up, right? And within a year, that portfolio will give you a different outcome, and it's going to make you look at this at a whole different outlook. So you want to be able to put yourself in a position to win. Holidays are coming. Christmas is on the rise.
Yay. Christmas on the rise. People spending money. Stock's going to do what?
Rise. Estee Lauder, baby. Estee Lauder. People buy perfume during the holidays. Don't tell me I ain't tell y'all one.
He just gave one. Y'all better watch out when Coach be dropping it. I mean, he didn't did his research. You don't just be dropping names for nothing. That's one thing I've been learning about him.
Estee Lauder, baby.
I'm like, what you doing? What we doing?
Just think about it like this. Estee Lauder, fragrances is the number one bought thing during the holidays, right? And so you just got to know when to buy and what to buy. That's why I come into play. So Estee Lauder, put it on your list. Don't say I ain't gave you one.
I'm gonna drop that on my watch list as soon as I get off of this call. That's why it's important to be around people who's talking to the next level, people who are moving and shaking. It drives me nuts to get in a conversation with somebody and we talking about nothing. Like, I want to elevate, right? So we got to be talking about the next level and how we elevate up. So, Coach, I'm gonna have to dig a little bit deeper because I'm gonna need you to give some tangible examples. So go back in your history and give us one of them plays. Tell us what you bought it at. Was it a call or was it a put? What did you flip it to and how long did it take? Give us some examples. Some people never.
One of my very first put plays was Chipotle. At this time, Chipotle was probably trading at about 600-700, and they had the E. coli thing went on. It was going national, right? And this is why it's important to watch the movie Billions, right? In the E. coli, everybody started getting sick because of the E. coli in the chicken, right? And so I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm saying, the charts look good. I'm about to go. I think I spent about maybe $600. $600 became $7,000. It was dropping like a train with no brakes, right? Because it hit national news. If you go back and check, you can check the history. It's about 5 years ago. I mean, it wasn't 5. It was about maybe 7-8 years ago. It was sliding, right? It went from 700, and then Chipotle traded at about 200 for a very long time, right? And so the CEO stepped down, and then they brought in another CEO, and they just never stopped moving once the new CEO came in. But this stock actually did a slide like no other, right? That was my first time actually experiencing this, because sometimes when these stocks slide, they slide, right? Yeah. Especially on bad news, right? Apple was another one. They had this where they give you information out, data breach some years ago, and the data breach came and Apple tanked. I mean, I tell you, it tanked. And Apple is not a very high stock to trade option. It is very, very simplistic. The only thing about it is that you could buy so many stocks. I think I bought about 10 contracts, which cost me about $1,000. And I think within 2 days, I think I might have made about maybe about 7 or 8 grand on this play.
I'm sorry.
Which was 7 or 8 grand on it. Yes, okay. Yes, you can get them like that because it was dropping. It dropped almost 30 points in this particular slide. And then what I did was after the drop, I ended up bought it long term, and it became a long term investment. Actually, Apple was one of my favorite stocks at one time. I wrote it for a very long time, and a lot of people who probably on the other forum with me, they're actually in Apple long term, right? They're in it. They just in it. They bought shares, but they're in it. And they were like, man, I was so grateful I bought this then. This was cheap then. So, those are my 2 stocks that I made some pretty good money on.
7,000, 8,000, 2 days.
Hey, look, it can happen any day. It can happen in any day.
You know how hard a travel nurse got to go out and work all them hours and deal with all the hospital politics and the foolishness to try to get somewhat next to that. I mean, they'll get it in that week, but come on now.
Yeah.
That's that restful money. That's what I call restful money. You get up next day, you check your plays like cha-ching. That's holidays, right?
Absolutely. And so in this game, this game could really be transforming in your life. It really could transform your life very differently if you do it right. I mean, it's very simple, right? And sometimes it can get very complex based on who's in office, right? As we can see, we're in a tariff state and everything is being affected by conversation. And so all he has to do is come on board and say the wrong thing and the market is triggered, right? And so we have to do is just play the patient game. Where we plant our seeds at is what we're gonna hold, right? Unless something changes, right? We might see what we seen red on Friday, and the day we come back and we see more green. So it's just a swap, right? So we just have to be patient and play this game and learn how to process this as it goes, right? But be patient. Patience is the number one thing in this game, being patient.
Yeah. And right now, it seems to be a heavy focus on technology, everything AI. As I'm watching AI and all of these groups and things are combining, companies are combining next level. Data is like it. Technology is it. Everything is there now. So when I think about that from a nursing perspective, we got to start to level up. We got to start to think about how do we have our money make money for us? How do we put ourselves in position to transfer our skills? Because it's different out here. Things are changing. When I think about educators being replaced, when I think about a lot of data entry roles are going to be replaced with AI bots, what are you going to do with the money that you're making? A lot of people go to work every day and they just working, playing, work, play. No investing, no nothing that's going to have their money make money. So we got to begin to shift that. So it's the holidays. What else is people going to be spending money on besides perfume this holiday? Give them one more, coach. Don't give them too much, but give them one more where they're going to be spending.
Logistics. Wow. The perfume got to travel some kind of way. Logistics.
I like that.
Logistics.
Yes. Yep. See that?
See, I've already studied this process already because I know what we're coming into. So I'm prepared, right? And so being prepared, I tell everybody, hey, you should take at least 15 to 20 minutes just to look at it, right? Look at what's going on. Look at what people are spending money at, right? Mm-hmm. One of the mishaps that I think that people didn't really get was, and everybody bought Eli. Everybody bought the what's the name of the weight loss drug? Everybody was taking
Glutide. It goes
Ozempic, right?
Yeah, Ozempic.
And when they was buying Ozempic, I was buying the actual option for Eli Lilly. I'm gonna give y'all another one since y'all are here. Eli Lilly, right? So Eli Lilly had been taken off, right? So all I was saying was thank you, right? Because I know what people was buying. I know they couldn't keep Ozempic on the shelf. Mm-hmm. It's no different than buying bleach during COVID, right? Clorox, if you go back to do the history check on it, Clorox was trading at about maybe $200-300. Clorox never trades that high. In COVID, they couldn't keep it on the shelf, so it was high demand, right? So
Mhm.
I mean, people were paying. The price went up on Clorox, and people had it for high demand. So as fast as bleach hit the shelf, the fastest it was going. So they couldn't keep enough bleach coming out in order for it to stay on the shelves.
I love it. I love the way that you pay attention to this. I love the way that you're always studying. Sometimes I feel like, whoa, wait a minute, you can't go to bed till you make sure you check and see. Get some research, get some plays ready, get some things up on the board, get prepared. It's really a mindset shift in understanding and being empowered about your money, not being afraid of money, but being empowered about taking your money, which is a tool, and using that tool to help to advance your family forward. And so, do you recommend that we start educating our children, educating our families on this?
Absolutely. Anybody that takes the class should at least start. You can start just like people buy shares. They buy shares. You can buy a long-term option for a grandkid, right? They're going to college. They got, these things are miscellaneous, just like the stock BBAI LEC, right? Those stocks are $7, $8, $9 stocks, right?
Yeah.
You can buy those opportunities out to 2028, right? You can buy them long term, right? It gives you to say it's no different than putting your money in a savings account.
Right.
Your savings account will never give you the amount of money that this option gonna give you on its return. When I looked at BBI today, I think I called it out when it was $5 or $6. It's $9 today, right?
Hmm.
So think about the return if this play goes up to, and we got it out to maybe 2027. Just think about the return on this play. I showed you what SoFi was. Just think about the return on this play if it goes runs to $30 a share, right? We're talking about probably maybe at least maybe 2,000-3,000 per contract, right? So a savings account could never give you that kind of return on a return on your money, right? So why put it in there? Still money don't make money.
Say it again.
Still money doesn't make money,
My favorite saying.
right? It's like the wheels on a truck. If your money ain't, if the stock ain't spinning, then your money, if your stock is spinning, your money's spinning. If the wheels on the truck is spinning, then there's money coming in.
Ooh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, are you going to be accepting new students anytime soon?
I am, right. I have a new class that's starting actually tomorrow. I have about maybe 8 or 9 students in there. And this probably be my last class for the duration of the year. I'm prepping for 2026. I'm gonna take this time off. I think I'm gonna treat my people in this October who've been on my side, who's been in. I'm gonna just throw some stuff out there for them. Merry Christmas! This that time of the year, and we gonna make this thing do what it do. We gonna rock it out on here, you know. But people who've been in my forum, they know how it go. They know how it goes, so they know when them plays coming, they coming.
Yes, yes. It's really like Christmas when you're passing out those plays. It's Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
it's an opportunity. So I've put your link right there that's going across the screen so that if you're ready to learn more about options, if you're ready to join in and level yourself up to the next level, steal money, don't make money. Long-term options could be a great gain for you down the road. You got to get educated in it, though. I do not recommend coming into options not having no sense of education. Just like he said, don't be out here trying to make a king cake if you don't know how to make the bread. One step at a time, get some level of understanding, get some level of knowing how to get yourself up to the next level. So, Eddie, how will people find you? Give us your social media handles.
Okay, they can find me on the website is right here on the bottom, the Lots Group, grp.com. The same thing is the same handles with TikTok. You can look at, or you can look at the Option Wiz on Twitter. Either one of those sites could help. I will say if you're new incoming into this, don't try the cryptocurrency. I've seen where a lot of people lost their money in cryptocurrency over the weekend. And so that's why I don't pretty much touch crypto so far, because it still hasn't been regulated enough to where it's stable enough with people, because people are getting taken by the crypto stuff, right? And so it will be a long-term thing. It will be valid at some point.
Mhm,
That's not the, if you're new, I would tell you not to touch it.
mhm,
Try something that you're familiar with. We trade plays that we patronize. And
mhm.
so if you want, I gave y'all Costco's last week, and I also posted on TikTok. Hey, y'all went to Costco this week? Thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. And then I posted a ticket for like $1,500, right?
Woo! $1,500 profit just like that.
Just like that.
Just like that. We all heard it first. Eddie Fontaine, the Wiz, Option Wiz, the Lots Group CEO and founder. I thank you for coming on here again. I thank you for sharing some holiday tips, helping people to learn about options, helping people to know that there is a coach out there willing to help you. Until next time, be sure to subscribe and like Nursing in Style Podcast. We'll see you soon.
Thank y'all.